One of the factors that determines student success and success in life in general is early childhood education. At MCC, we partner with others in our community to do everything we can to reach out to children and families in order to impact young minds. On this session of Metro and More, you'll learn about one partnership we're involved with, and we'll show you how we're doing something different here, which is how we describe the initiative. I'm Kent Pavelka, and joining me next from the MCC Early Childhood Program is Dr. Andreas Schneider, coming up straight ahead on Metro and More. Greetings from the set of Metro and More at Metropolitan Community College, serving more than 50,000 students with over 120 programs at our 8 locations in the daytime, evening, weekends, or online. And as promised, in studio with me is Dr. Andreas Schneider from MCC's Early Childhood Program. And before we talk about the programming and the topic at hand, a little bit about yourself. We were chatting before we went on air. You have a really interesting background. You're from Romania.
So originally I was born in Romania, Bucharest, yes, and came to America in 1983.
1983.
Moved to California and moved to Omaha in 2013.
Yeah. So how did you get from Bucharest to
America? Yeah. So I actually have a unique story in that I lived in multiple places in Europe and overseas in Libya and Syria. And when we made our way back, my parents and I moved our way back to Europe. We actually settled in Vienna in a refugee camp. So I lived in a refugee camp for about 2 years. And from that experience, as you can imagine, I've lived and learned and can recall a lot of positive and not so positive experiences. But thankfully we migrated to the United States in 1983 to New York, and Brooklyn.
You were 6 years old when all this started.
I was 6 years old when it started, and I was about 9 years old when I came to America. And it was such an amazing experience. America the Great, as my parents like to say.
Yeah, 9 years old enough to fully remember and be cognizant.
Yes.
So Romania at the time was communist,
it was a communist
iron-fisted.
Country. Absolutely, absolutely. It was iron-fisted, it was communist, it was very limited. So part of our methodology and our beliefs in early childhood is relationship building. And so that was a very hard challenge that I had to work on, and learning how to build trust in relationships, because when you grow up in a regime where everything is so skewed and limited and scary, it's hard to rebuild that trust and building those relationships.
Yeah, that's a great segue into the topic. But at 6 years old, you weren't too young to feel what was going on in the family and all that.
Absolutely, right.
Yeah.
No, I was not. But, you know, as a 6-year-old, you still can feel that there's some unbalance in the household, and there's been some very scary moments. I recall when we actually left Libya, I remember my mom and I were sitting in the back seat hiding under blankets while my father was in the airport trying to get a visa. And to this day, I don't know what he said to persuade the individuals there to give us a visa to get out of the country. But I remember seeing the soldiers with the rifles just pacing around our car, and it was dark and scary. And I remember my mom looked over to me and she said, you know, "Te iubesc," which means I love you in Romanian. And in the Eastern European cultures, especially in the 70s and 80s, showing affection was not what you did. And I suspect it's because of the communist regime. When you're raised under such a limited environment, you're afraid to express your emotions. So when she said that to me, and I said, uh-oh, we're in trouble. But thankfully we made it out safely, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, and so fast forward to you being in early childhood education from arriving in New York City at 9 years old.
9 years old, yes. So I arrived to America in 1983 in the Bronx in New York, and we moved to California about 6 months later. One of my mom's colleague who worked with her at the hospital in Romania sponsored us, so we transferred over to Los Angeles, and we lived there for about 20 years or so. So that's where I completed all my schooling and so forth, and where I met my other half, Michael Schneider, who is from Russia, from Moscow. So his story is a little bit more limited. He came on a lottery system, so he lucked not as dramatic as mine. Exactly. And we moved to Omaha in 2013, and at the time I had my two little boys, Orion, who was a year and a half, and Aiden was 7 days old. And we moved June 28th, and July 1st my husband started school, and I was a single parent for about 6 years.
Where was he going to school?
So he went to school at UNMC, so he conducted his medical school and his
Dr.
residency.
Schneider.
Dr. Schneider too, yes.
Yeah, well, I should have mentioned, this is Dr. Schneider too, you PhD
in education.
Where?
Through Walden University.
Okay.
Yes, so it's education, K through 12.
And so you came here in 2014, 13, something like that?
Into the United
States?
Yes.
Into
Omaha,
yeah.
correct.
So how did you wind up at MCC in early childhood education?
I've always wanted to do higher ed education, and a colleague of mine said, Andrea, there is an opportunity that you may want to consider in applying for a faculty position, and I would really encourage you to go and apply, and the rest is history, as they say again. So I moved forward with my application process and was hired in 2015. Yes.
So you've been here a little over 2 years?
A little over 2 years, yes.
And Dr. Schneider, what do you teach?
So I teach in the early childhood program here at Metro, and currently we have about 325 students enrolled in our program, both face-to-face and online in evening classes. So we teach anything from basic principles, introduction to early childhood, language and literacy, family engagement, community outcomes and research. I mean, a vast amount of various courses prepping students ready for the workforce in early childhood.
That's what I was curious about. Is this a major leading to a career in a lot of different areas, right?
A lot of different areas. So unfortunately, the mindset has always been in early childhood very limited. Oh, you're just a babysitter, for lack of better words. And so through research, multiple research, and through various other organizations such as the Buffett Institute, and other institutes, research, and from Harvard and Vanderbilt and so forth, we know that early childhood is important. And we used to think that, it started in preschool. And now we know that it starts before preschool, while a mother is pregnant, as a matter of fact. So there's been a lot of changes and push in early childhood in regards to ensuring that children have opportunities as young as birth to 3 and 3 to 5, because we know once children hit preschool, well, their brains are already about 80% formed already, so it's harder to inform change in behavior. So we want to get them really young.
Sure. I was just thinking, your 7-day-old coming to Omaha.
Right.
Do you have any idea how you impacted him or her?
Oh boy, I don't know. we should probably ask Aiden.
So is this a 2-year degree?
It's a two-year degree with the whole entire program at Metro. So that includes the general studies and our early childhood program as well. In our courses, we offer 21 courses in our program currently.
And what kinds of careers then at the end of that regimen?
So students have a vast opportunity to do virtually anything they want to do. Even if they don't go into early childhood, it's good to have the foundations of understanding child development. But we've had students from our surveys have gone into obviously teaching K through 3rd, so kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, or 3rd grade, or teaching a preschool classroom or an infant toddler classroom. You can become a NICU nurse as well, working with families and premature babies. In the law, if you become a lawyer, you can be an advocate for early childhood and ensuring that the proper legislation and policies are put in place. So there's vast wealth of employment in the field of early childhood. It's not just teaching or babysitting.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about the early childhood program at MCC in conjunction with a number of other entities.
Sure.
We've got the Learning Community.
Right.
The Learning Community Center of North Omaha.
Right.
What is the Learning Community? I'm familiar with it, but let our viewers know a little bit about it.
So the Learning Community is a wonderful facility and program. I always like to tell individuals, think of it like a YMCA, but it's more for education. So there's a vast amount of programming that is held at the Learning Community. One in particular is the Parent University. So these are for families who live in the North Omaha area and or OPS area, and who are refugees as well, who have come to the United States and don't speak English and need that extra support in community resources. So Jamila Parker is the director of this parent university, and they have various classes such as ESL classes, and that touches home for me because when we came to America, we didn't speak the language.
Wow,
so I
you're
remember
amazing. I have to say, you wouldn't know that you were from anywhere but Omaha.
Thank you. So I recall my mom going to Hollywood High School and taking ESL courses and so forth. So it touches a deep place in my heart.
Sure.
And they also have courses like financial literacy also, knowing how to budget yourself. For example, when my parents came here, having a 401k, life insurance, that was not a priority. So trying to instill these practices in families, new families to Nebraska or to America is important skills for them to have. And then we have also Metro, our early child program is housed at the learning community too, and we have a unique partnership with the learning community in that we have amazing technology currently that are instilled in the classrooms, and so we have the opportunity to, when we lecture in the classrooms, actually to give students in the moment feedback. They wear a special lanyard, and we're able to record their practices, if you will, in the early child classroom that is located in the learning community just down the hall. And we're able to record it and analyze it, dissect it, read it, and reflect. And so it's very hands-on, very hands-on.
So you're recording what again?
We're recording lectures and recording students actually conducting observations with students.
And then you coach them up a little bit?
And we coach them right there in the moment, so that we wear a microphone, the students wear a microphone. And
it's got to be really helpful.
It's very helpful, and it can be very intimidating as well. So again, it goes back to that building those relationships with your students and their families as well, and with the learning community.
You know, at one point in time, the learning community in the Omaha area was about a amalgamation of district. This is not the same thing?
It is.
It is?
So that's another component is, yes, the superintendent plan is, if you've heard of that as well, is another component of the learning community too, where we know, again, through research, that early childhood is so vital. But what happens in elementary, there's a huge disconnect between preschool and elementary as well. So trying to fill those gaps as well. So it's more of a seamless transaction for not only the children graduating from preschool and going to a kindergarten classroom, for example, but we found out also that the parents feel completely disconnected as well. So we kind of coddle the parents in early, in preschool, infantile or preschool classrooms, and then once they're in an actual elementary building, the philosophy is a little bit different. So how do we marry the two? So the parents learn how to advocate for their child and have a peace of mind as well.
Well, we're not talking about the bigger learning community here. We're talking about the learning community of North Omaha.
Correct.
Is that a building or where?
Yes, it's a building and it's located on 24th and Franklin. And it's a beautiful brand new building that was established in 2004, I believe. And Ted Stillwell, the former CEO, this was his vision. And so his vision was to have a building with programming, educational programming to help support community stakeholders surrounding.
So then
North Omaha.
the connection with MCC is that students
It's
are there.
Correct.
It's kind of a laboratory.
It's a
in a way.
laboratory in a way. It's that clinical field experiences that we like to give to students. So we provide that clinical hands-on experiences, not just at the very end when you have student teaching. We've learned that doesn't work. For example, I in California taught middle school, and I thought, oh boy, no, this is not my cup of tea. I'm more of the kindergarten, preschool, and so forth. But I was so far into my program that I had to
They didn't
complete.
give you a chance to
so I didn't get a
taste
chance
it,
to change that. So that we didn't want that. Again, back to the experiences. And so we, as a result of those experiences, my colleague and I said, let's embed field experiences, clinical experiences from day one.
Good.
Even if they're taking an introduction to early childhood, let's have them get a taste of their medicine. Is this what you really want to do?
So you do that at the
we do that at the learning
facility.
community.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. So we currently have a program that are called Educare of North Omaha Callum, and they were housed in our building for about 2 years or so, and they've moved across the street. So they're still in close proximity, and they are installing cameras in the facility at Educare as well. So we're still able to do that in the moment coaching with our students. So for example, we have 5 students in the class. 4 of the 5 will stay back at the learning community, and 1 of the students will go across the street at Callum in a classroom, say a preschool classroom. She wears the lanyard, and then we turn on the cameras, and then we coach. So as a class, we coach that particular student.
Wonderful.
And then we record it and say, hey, let's look at this. Let's reflect. What can we do better or different? How can we better our practices?
And Callum is an OPS grade school.
Correct.
Right,
Yes, it is.
right.
Yes, and they have Educare, which is right next, which is a birth to 5 nonprofit early childhood program, which is sponsored by the Sherwin Foundation, other stakeholders as well.
Dr. Schneider, what do you want our viewers to know about the program? When we initially started, you jumped right on the fact that we know now that you can't wait till kindergarten. Is that one of the huge things you want people to know?
I would love for all the stakeholders to know that early childhood is vital and important. And I always tell my students, it's like having a brain in your hand. It's such a delicate and such a powerful field, and we need to have qualified, well-prepared, skilled teachers, because we know, again, through research, that we have to provide the utmost high-quality programming and practices and pedagogy and methodology.
Pedagogy, there's a word.
So students, when they are in the classroom, they're informing best practices and supporting those social emotional development, and supporting the families as well, and supporting those relationships and those trust.
Well, and that would apply to every neighborhood, every community, not just North Omaha. So what can parents do to prepare a child, best prepare a child, notwithstanding what they can learn with this?
I think parents need to instill the trust of early childhood programs as well, and they need to as well have a passion for the field of early childhood, and perhaps change your mindset too, that it's not so much a babysitting, for lack of better words. Early childhood is absolutely vital and important and essential, and that the teachers in the field are and should be qualified teachers, because again, a lot of these children spend 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours a day within a facility or within a program. So again, it goes back to the relationship. So it's a delicate dance between parents and teachers and the community around, and the students as well.
Yeah.
So it's that gatekeeping, which can be a bump in the road as well.
And that's not to suggest, I assume, that the parents can't do something on their own.
Sure. No.
Differently than maybe they think that they ought to be doing. You mean you need to be a teacher
Right, you
yourself.
need to be a teacher, yes. And nonetheless, though, it's very important that the teachers and the parents have the relationship. It's very important. Before, we used to think, oh, the parent just drop off, you walk away, you drive away, and that's it. But we've learned as well through research that it's very essential that we have a robust and strong and beautiful relationship between the teachers and the families, because the relationship with the children will come later, but you need to have that cohesiveness between the family and the teachers.
But anything specifically a parent of a young child, a baby right now, can employ on their own at home that maybe they don't know about?
Absolutely. Talking. You can never talk too much to an infant or a toddler or preschool. And reading and music. There's music and reading is absolutely vital. That language literacy is very key. Yes.
We've talked about parent university. Anything more you want to talk? That's what you call it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a component.
That's a component of the learning community.
Now,
yes.
you said that these are not all immigrants, are they?
Not all of them. No, not all of them.
So it's anybody in the community.
Anybody in the community lives in OPS in the North Omaha area. We also have another unique component with the learning community besides Metro and besides the parent university. We also have a component where we actually coach the directors in North Omaha of local child care centers. So
great.
Unfortunately, child care has some bumps in the road in regards to the providing equality. So there's a disconnect between, okay, we have robust, wonderful, amazing, skilled teachers graduating from the program. However, how do we change the mindset within the workforce of early childhood, where you don't just put a child in front of a TV and say that's okay, or you give them like a coloring sheet or a ditto sheet or so and so forth. So there's a project now with the learning community called the Director's Childcare Project, where there are coaches who go into the programs and work specifically with the directors. How can we coach the directors to build that confidence and skill set and leadership skills so that they in return can coach their teachers, which then affects child outcome in the classroom. So that's a very unique approach as well. There's no one in the nation that I'm aware of that's doing this, so this is very, very unique.
Great.
So we're going in our second year cohort, which is very exciting.
Well, where does the state of Nebraska stand in relation to elsewhere around the United States in terms of what we require of so-called daycare?
Daycare. Unfortunately, it's
I
not.
saw the grimace there
It's
because
not very high.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's probably one of the lowest state. We are very excited to have Step Up to Quality enforced in Nebraska, which is like a quality rating scale, for lack of a better word. So that's helping inform change in early childhood in the workforce as well, helping centers have more additional resources and understanding why it's important. You're not just running a childcare just to run a childcare. There's more. You have to invest a lot more financially and emotionally and physically into running a successful, high-quality childcare center as well.
as you reach out to established childcare entities now, what kind of reception are you getting? Are people wanting to move in the direction that you'd like them to?
They are. However, again, it's a mindset, and it's change is fearful. And I always, again, tell my students, what's that four-letter word, not that naughty one,
Fear.
It's fear. It's absolute fear that holds us back. So there has been some resistance. However, it comes back down to that relationship. So the coaches have to really build a strong relationship with the sites, with the program, in order to inform and influence that change.
In the interim, though, how does a parent choose the best child care opportunity? I mean, you shop around, what do you look for?
So typically, as a parent, you shop around, you look to see the teacher-child interaction. Are the teachers talking to the children? Are they talking to them positively? Are they scaffolding them? Are there enough materials in the program? Is there a warm, inviting, caring environment? Or are children sitting out, being punished in timeout and so forth? So you look to see how the atmosphere and the environment is.
One note I made about us sitting down was you talk about teaching in the moment.
Yes, teaching in
What's
the
that
moment. Teaching in a moment, we live and learn, and I tell my students this: if I fall down on my face, you have to help me get back up, because if you fall down on your face, I will be there for you. So it's a two-way street. I'm not better than you, you're not better than me, we're here to learn together. So we coach our students in the moment. So again, we do a lot of reflective supervision, a lot of reflective talk, a lot of group work, a lot of opportunity to build on and scaffold on critical thinking skills, case studies, and so forth. So we analyze, dissect, look at these various case studies or opportunities, and we talk about it, and we learn from that in the moment, and we try to inform change.
It relates, I think, to what you were talking about earlier, video.
Correct. Yes.
Taking
Yes.
this education and training away out of the realm of just
Right.
study, and then,
Right, exactly.
oh, by the way, here's 2 months of
Right.
practical work
Right.
in the classroom at the end of it.
Yes. And what we've learned also with the cameras, again, it's very intimidating, it's very scary, so it goes back down to the relationships. You have to build those strong relationships and trust with your students as well, so they can feel secure and
Can be threatening.
laugh and learn and be okay if
Well,
they didn't.
what you don't know is we're going to do that with this tape after the show. So I
Great. Fantastic.
hope- Just kidding, just kidding. And you alluded to the improved tools you have.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything more in computers for the
So
parents?
we have iPads in the building that parents can use too, that students can use as well when we go on field experiences or clinical experience. They can take the iPads with them as well, and we as well use various technology and programs and apps to help learning for both families. So I know that Jamila Parker as well has various technical apps and so forth that she helps support her families.
And who's that?
Jamila Parker, she's a director of Parent University. So her and I and Metro, we work very closely together. Yes.
So anybody in the community who's interested in having their children participate or themselves, Parent University, how best to get started?
So the best way to get started is actually just to contact the Learning Community Center of North Omaha and ask for Jamila Parker. And they have wonderful navigators who are well-trained and skilled individuals who will work with the families one-on-one and assess and conduct various assessments to see what their needs are within the community and at home, and ensure that they are guided in the right direction.
Learning Community of North Omaha.
Yes.
Just give them a call.
Give them a call.
And now you've got a Facebook page.
We have a Facebook page, yes, Metropolitan Community College Early Childhood Program. Yes, it's a tongue twister, but
Yeah. That's great.
Yes, I encourage everyone, like our page. We post a lot of research-based articles, fun activities. My colleague and I as well upload a lot of pictures of our students in the classroom so other individuals or stakeholders can see, look, this is what we're doing in our classroom. We get down and dirty and, and it's okay.
So what would you say to prospective students, I guess, who might want to
come into the program?
Take a look at the program. Yeah.
Set your fear aside. It's a journey, and there will be a lot of bumps in the road, but the faculty are amazing, and again, we are very relationship, trust-based, so if we go down, we all go down together, for lack of better words. So you have the strong support system, which I think is very important in order to be successful, because it is scary. Education is very, very scary, especially if you've been out of the loop for many years.
And you see some non-traditional folks getting into this,
all
right?
the time. I have a student now who's been out for about 8 years, and she came back to school, and I said, it's okay, we will do it together.
Yeah.
So giving students the opportunity to express their fears, meet them where they're at, but challenge them a little bit. Take them out of the comfort zone is very, very important.
And lots of different ways to go
Yes.
after you finish
Yes.
in terms of applying all this knowledge.
Absolutely. You're not just an early childhood teacher. You can become a lawyer, you can become a doctor, pediatrician. I mean, there's
But
so much.
all of that is so valuable.
It's so valuable to understand child development and relationships.
Yeah.
Early childhood is a new thing.
Any final thoughts, Dr. Schneider, that you'd like our viewers to know? Or
That early childhood is an amazing field, and it's growing, and we need all the support that we can get.
very good.
Yes.
Delightful conversation. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you so
it.
much. Thank you for having me.
Good
Appreciate
job.
it. Thank you.
And thank you for being with us again on Metro and More. Our goal is to better acquaint you with the mission, leadership, and the reach of the college. I'm Kent Pavelka for Metropolitan Community College. If you have comments or questions about the program, please email us at metrovision@mccneb.edu. Thanks for watching.
This has been a MetroVision production produced by Metropolitan Community College.